All right, Coach, I think we'll get started. Why don't you just, like normal, get us started with an opening statement?
Yeah, obviously, tough game in South Bend. Start off, they're a really good football team. We knew that going in. Anytime you play a big opponent like that, you hope you catch them on an off year. We definitely didn't catch them on an off year. We knew, watching the Georgia game, watching the Michigan State, they got after Michigan State pretty good. Michigan State obviously proved next week they're a pretty good football team as they beat Iowa. So we knew going in physically, just like we talked last Monday, physically there was going to be some mismatches. And we also knew going in we were shorthanded. No Junior and Tony on defense. So you take away two of your most physical players and two of your leading tacklers against a team that you're going to be up against it even with Junior and Tony. Obviously problematic. Then obviously no Doyle up front, no Danny up front against a really strong D-line. So plan was to be aggressive. We weren't going in there to play it safe, and we whipped it around a bunch. Everybody talked about we were trying to throw the ball 30. I said, yeah, we kind of were. We didn't think we were going to grind it out against Notre Dame's front seven, and it might have not got out of hand as quick if we grinded it out a little more and tried to slow the game. But our deal is we were going there trying to win a football game. Obviously, the two turnovers in the first four possessions offensively were critical. We talked all week. If we're going to have a chance to pull off something here, we got to play clean football. And we throw a pick on the first series. We fumble one on the third series, and obviously that didn't help our defense. Defensively, we were overwhelmed. Their offensive line controlled the football game. It was a massacre out there. There was gigantic holes to run through, and they got really good backs running through them. Not having Tony back there when guys broke loose, usually Tony's our guy to get people on the ground, and I don't know if he'd have got their backs down, but he was our best chance, obviously, and him not. A couple of those runs that went for 60, I think if we had Tony, we'd maybe get him on the ground, live to play another down. And then pass pro, they just Winbush had all day, and he's talented enough, and the receivers are talented enough. But he was back there. We really, I don't know that we defended and covered him great in zone or man, but we had no chance. Even when we did, he just stood back there forever and moved around and either took off running or made a play. So the story, really the big story of the game is their offensive line taking control really of the game. Then offensively, obviously we talked about the two turnovers, which didn't give us a chance. We would have had to score some points to stay in that game. But we moved the ball very effectively against a really strong defense. We had 377 yards, which is, I believe, the most they've given up this year. We threw the ball. We ran the ball fairly effective. Not great, but more than I thought we would at times. There was some air in there, and we covered some people up, and we got some holes, and our running backs ran good. And I felt like we could kind of move the ball the whole game. It was hard to get a full drive in against them. Because they're pretty talented and they're really, really well coached on defense. But I felt like, moving the ball for 377 yards, we had probably 5 or 6 different opportunities to put points on the board. A couple times we went for it on fourth down that if the game was different, we're kicking field goals. But we got the ball down in their end a number of times by moving the football. So ST was probably the best. We played pretty good on special teams. We didn't punt it good as we could, but we covered the kicks good. Our kickoff return wasn't bad. Obviously, Jalen Bester had a really nice coming out party for us at Notre Dame, and we need him, obviously, with Maurice and Leonard down, two of our top tailbacks out. Bester getting in the mix, and it was a pretty interesting afternoon for him. He got a lot of touches on KOR for the first time, and he got a lot of touches on offense and obviously made the most of them and took advantage of some good blocking, but also did some things on his own with his speed, and doesn't go down easy for a guy that doesn't weigh a whole lot, as he proved on the kickoff return. Got drilled pretty hard. Next thing you know, he's out the gate for 40 yards. So a lot of positives on special teams. We weren't overwhelmed there. Obviously, they had the one fake kick against our punt return team, which we got to look at and make sure that doesn't happen again, particularly going into league play. So hard afternoon, long afternoon, but again, good for our team, and one opportunity to play in that venue. That's an awesome opportunity for Miami University and our football team. Too good for the confidence of some guys. There's I can name about 10, 12 guys that played well in that game, and they left Notre Dame Stadium saying that's a pretty darn good high-level Power 5 football team, and I not only wasn't overmatched, I made plays out there, and there's a number of guys who really played good football games and left that stadium saying, hey, I could play on that field with Notre Dame. Notre Dame Georgia was there a few weeks ago, and I was fine. I made the plays I need to make, and I made a number of plays. There's another group of kids that made some plays, probably got beat more often But I think it's a confidence builder for those kids too, that they did some good things, maybe 30 to 40% good and 60, 70% got beat. But again, against who they were playing and they're watching the tape of Georgia and Michigan State all week and going, holy cow, this is real. This is as good as it gets. So I think even for those kids that lost more battles they won, I think it was a positive day. Then even for the third group, there's some guys that got physically whooped, and really didn't make any plays on either side of the ball and were overwhelmed physically. And even for those kids, if they have the mental toughness and the confidence, it's going to be a great learning experience for them that, hey, they were a Division I team, we're a Division I team. I know there's difference in levels. I get that. I understand. But for me to go on that field and get overwhelmed, I got to get better. I got to get stronger, I got to get quicker, I got to get better with my technique, I got to get better with my hands, I got to get better with my takeoffs. There's a lot of things that can be learned from taking behind the woodshed and getting kicked around a little bit. And a lot of our kids experience like, hey, I'm pretty good. And there's kids that played really good against Central Michigan the week before that got absolutely overwhelmed on Saturday. So for those kids to take, okay, I did good one week, but there's a whole nother level out there. So if I ever want to get to that level, I still have a lot of work to go with my mental and physical game. And that can be, again, you have to have confidence and you have to have some toughness. Otherwise, you get overwhelmed and you go in a shell. But for those kids, there's some kids that had long Saturdays. It wasn't fun being out there for them. It wasn't fun for them. It wasn't fun to watch, and they were trying. They just physically weren't as big and strong as fast as the guy across from them. And some kids got run by that never been run by since they've been at Miami, and all of a sudden they got run by. Some kids got knocked way off the ball, and they've never been knocked way off the ball since they've been in Miami. So they understand when I talk about there's another level out there, they got a firsthand knowledge of it. So we need to take that and grow from it. Then the last piece is there's mistakes that we made that we got to clean up. We got to clean up the 2 turnovers. That Notre Dame linebacker made a heck of a play. The one, no credit. He's a really good player, but we can't throw that ball where he can jump up and get a fairly easy interception. Then we can't fumble when protection, they're blitzing and the pocket's caving in. We can't go run and fumble. We got to take care of the football. So, and then there's mistakes on defense too, and sometimes we just got overwhelmed on defense, but there was mental errors that had nothing to do with Notre Dame. We got to clean those up. So look hard at those yesterday, and our kids understand that if we make the same mistakes against Bowling Green, they're going to take advantage of them. So there's things that need to get cleaned up like any football game, and then, like I said, after game, we're going to move on quickly, which we did, and we're already rolling on to Bowling Green, which is obviously a huge contest for us.
Would you specifically say to kids in your third group, would you point to kids in the first group and say, that could be you, you can do that?
Yeah.
And would you name them?
Yeah, no, we're pretty open and honest. Like for me in life, you can't get better if I'm conning them. Like and they know, like they were there, and 2, they watch a tape. Like their teammates know, like there's people that made plays. Like I said to the team yesterday, like I said, name one guy in this room everybody's talking about. I've already got 15 calls, messages. Name one guy, and immediately somebody goes, Jalen Bester. I go, no, everyone knows. Like, if you watch the game, if Bake never called their number, they didn't make a play. Like, if they make a play, everyone knows. And then even just watching the game, it wasn't hard to say 18. There's guys on Notre Dame staff like, ooh, that little 18, he's going to be a good player for you. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. That was exciting to watch for everyone that he's at Notre Dame Stadium. He's making plays against one of the top defense in the country and one of the top kickoff coverage teams in the country. So, and there's, people talk about James Gardner, people talk about Kenny Young, people talk about Alonzo Smith, people talk about Gus after the first couple of series settled in play, and Jared Murphy's out there making plays, and there was a number of people. Brad Koenig was not overwhelmed by any stretch, and Akeem Allen played good, and the list goes on. There was a number of guys that play good football. Obviously not enough. We got killed. There's, I'm aiming 10 to 12 guys on our team that played. We played 30 some guys, So, and then the other guys know, and we don't necessarily have to name names, but they know if they went out there and I was on kickoff and punt, and I got blocked every time. I never got near their returner. That's not good enough. Where other guys got down the field and made plays. So I got my blocks on KOR. Other guys didn't make their blocks, and it's all on video. So it's pretty easy. But we like to be real. It's not a negative thing. It's okay. Why didn't you have success? And let's build on why you didn't have some. What was it? Is it physical? Let's get in the weight room. Is it mental? Is it aggressiveness? Is it technique? There's all sorts of reasons why you don't get your job done, and let's look at them every week and get better at them.
Coach, you're 5 games in, sitting at 2-3. How do you evaluate your team thus far, and what's the main thing you want to see improved as you head into league play?
Yeah, evaluate the team so far. Obviously, we've had a couple frustrating losses. We've had 2 good wins. We had 1 game against Notre Dame that doesn't, we weren't as good. So that one just kind of is the outlier. And then we have 2 frustrating losses where we had self-inflicted wounds that directly attributed to not winning games. So really after 5, we're excited we're 1-0 in the league for starters, and excited that now we'll be in the league. We're excited that we got 4 of the last 7 at home. And got opportunities. We're tied for first with OU and got a chance this weekend to stay tied for first. And biggest thing as a team is players keeping it simple. When we've got into trouble this year, it's when kids are trying to do too much. And that comes with having a little more experience and a little more confidence, a little more playmaking ability. And you want them to have an aggressive nature and go make plays. But our defense has been really good throughout Saturday. We were overwhelmed. But, somebody just asked me on a call about our rush defense is statistically not very good. I said, well, it was before the last game. I said, our rush defense hasn't been the issue. I said, they rushed for 370 yards in the first quarter, so that put a dent in our statistical rush defense. But I said, when we've gotten trouble on defense, when we've gotten trouble on offense, we got trouble on ST is when kids are just not playing the game and keeping it simple and doing their job. So that's we talked about it yesterday. It's going to be a huge focus this week of keeping things simple and trusting your teammates and being mentally tough enough and mentally disciplined enough to do your job on OD and special teams every down. When we've got out of that, when we've got out of our comfort zone and tried to make a play that wasn't there or try to do somebody else's job, we've given up stuff on defense and we've hurt ourselves on offense. So as our team grows and as our team matures, and it's nice to have a little bit more veteran and guys that have played before, but we have some of those guys now are saying, okay, last year I was just trying to keep my head above, now I'm trying, I'm going to go make a play that's not there, and that will cost you in the game of football. Mistakes are huge. So we got to clean up our game and keep it simple. Our players got to keep it simple, and they got to do their job and demand that their teammates do their job. And if we do that, we're going to have a chance to win some games down the stretch here.
Bowling Green's obviously having a tough year at 0-5 right now, but a MAC win would be vital this Saturday. How do you keep your team focused and not overlooking a struggling Bowling Green team?
Yeah, no, we don't overlook anyone. I mean, Bowling Green's actually better than they were a year ago. I know their record doesn't show. I think they're going through a little bit of what we went through. I think I can empathize with their staff. They're better on defense this year by a wide margin. Their kids are, you can tell year 2, they're starting to figure out their schemes, and they're executing their schemes way better on defense. Now, their 0-5 record doesn't show it, but there was things my second year that I knew we were doing way better, and our record wasn't there, all right? They still have electric pieces on offense, and when they get going, they're up-tempo, and they got skill outside, and they got a good running game when they get – but they're a lot like us year 2. They shoot themselves in the foot. Like, they get it going, and then they stop themselves, and there's evidence on tape every week of them playing good football on both sides of the ball, but they haven't got the consistent piece. And like I said, I can totally empathize with where they are. Second year, new systems on both sides of the ball, and kids trying to figure out what they're doing. You can see the elements of them getting better. So they've lost some close games. They could have won last week. They could have won the week before. They have enough pieces to hurt you. It's the MAC. Most games in the MAC are fairly tight. Every so often there's an outlier blowout, but when you watch MAC games and you look up in the third quarter, most games are pretty close, and we expect this to be a pretty darn close game, and we got to worry about us and clean up our own mistakes.
One thing that jumps out about them is their takeaways. Ball security, would that be any extra emphasis this week, or would you just keep that on the same level?
Well, it's going to be extra emphasis every week because we have to win the last week we don't get any turnovers, and we have 2, and you're not going to win games against Notre Dame or anyone else if you're minus turnover takeaways. Everyone that follows football understands how important that is, and your point's well taken. Like whoever wins a turnover battle this Saturday is probably going to have the best chance to win the game. It doesn't matter what records are going in or what spreads are going in. It matters how clean football, and part of playing clean football on offense is taking care of the football, which both them and us are going to try to do, and then same thing on defense. We got to get takeaways. But good defenses take the ball away and create offense and create field position, and it's demoralizing when the other team turns the ball over. So we have to be more opportunistic, and we have to be more attacking the football, whether it be stripping or whether it be going after the ball in the air. We had some plays Saturday that we could have made plays on the ball in the air, and we really didn't even try to. One time we batted a ball down, we could have jumped on and caught. And those are the plays we have to be opportunistic and go after and make the play. And then obviously attacking the football when they run it is critical. And we got to hold on to the ball, and we got to throw it to our guys, not their guys.
Everybody good? Coach, appreciate it.
All right, thank you.